What you gonna do? Don't touch his ass. Don't touch his ass. What you gonna do? Don't touch his ass. Shit.
Woo, clear it out. Clear it out. Get over it. Get over it.
Get this.
Ooh, shit. Move out, move out, move out. Ooh, they on his ass. Whoop, ass. What's up, everybody? I'm Blessed and Free. Welcome back to another episode of DOC TV. So if you guys don't recognize the guest, he's a former Alabama correctional officer. He did, level 4s, level 5s. He's been in all the rough spots in Alabama. We already did an interview. I'm going to post a link to that in the description of this video. He's got a lot of crazy stories. And the thing that I respect about this guy a lot is, he doesn't sugarcoat anything. He admits that he made some bad decisions being a correctional officer, but now he sheds light on that. So, future correctional officers don't fall victim to shit like that in the Department of Corrections. So without further ado, man, for the people that don't know who you are, though, why don't you go ahead and just introduce yourself to the people watching at home? Just tell them your name and a little brief story about who you are.
What's up, y'all? This is part 2. I'm the corrupt author, Cedric Long. I'm a former Alabama Department of Corrections correctional officer. I done 5 years. And I turned author now, and I basically help out with prison reform. Kind of redeem some of the blood on my own hands.
I feel you. So in the first episode, we never really touched on a couple things, and that was, what corruption. I know that we touched on, what you saw other officers do and a little bit about what you did, but, out of the time that you spent as a prison guard, what would you say was the most corrupted thing that you did?
Oh,
damn, it's like that.
Yeah. The most corrupt thing I've done. It's definitely going to be in use of force. Maybe use of force, man. You had a guy, just dirty stuff. Basically, when we have a use of force, especially what we call a code red, that's when an officer and inmate are into a physical altercation. An inmate has to get a body chart. So
what do you mean by that? Is that a chart for to mark where they have abrasions and shit like that?
Yeah, they send you to healthcare anytime you're in a physical altercation. They have to, check for injuries, and they have to put that in your medical file, medical record. And so let's say you were fighting with another inmate, well, you have to get a body chart, and I can do whatever I want to you and put the injuries on the altercation you was in. Just
so the people watch and understand, because, all right, so if I'm fighting an inmate, and I'm beating his ass, I have no marks on me. You come into the dorm, right? You spray us, and I'm telling you, fuck you, you shit eater, da. So you punch me like 10 times in my ribs and in my face. Now I got shit all over my body. Then you write it up and say that the other inmate did it.
Exactly. Even in training, they teach you in a covert way to, let's say, you get into the altercation, and I grab and put you in handcuffs, and maybe you curse me and I bang your head on the wall, or if I punch you in the face, you got a black eye. They teach you to say you had that you were struggling, and I had to force you to the ground. I had to force you to the wall. That's going to explain your, whatever you got on your face.
You are taught that?
They literally will tell you, placing someone on the wall or placing them on the floor, you have to write in your incident explaining injuries. So they won't say you can break a guy's arm, but they'll say if a guy has a broken arm and you write on there that you just can't put him in handcuffs, you haven't created a narrative that explains his injury. But I could come break your arm, place you in handcuffs, and then say, you were resisting. And
So when you did that, man, like, was there beef? Did you do that to every inmate you came across, or was there like certain ones that, you know, would talk cat shit to you and then finally you caught them in that position?
No, I don't know, man. Some days one of my close friends, we hung out drunk together, chased women together. He got into some foolishness. I ain't gonna say his name, the bald-headed rascal, but he got into some foolishness.
This
It
is
was
you and your homeboy on the street?
no. He's a correctional officer. We just
Oh,
clicked.
okay. Okay.
You know, we hung out afterward, but he
So
called.
you boot each other up.
Yeah. And I had another partner, like we put gas on each other. So the inmates actually signed a petition and made it so we couldn't work the dorm together anymore. They kind of won. The warden sided with them. But this incident.
Damn, dog. So you were the officer, like when shift change came, all the inmates in the dorm saw you and your homeboy coming in and they already knew shit's about to get hectic tonight.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't do it personally, but they know I was gonna back him up, and he was on some crazy stuff. But you was talking about corruption. I did. We had so my homeboy calls it code red. So code red is feeding time. You know, that's the buffet. You know, they will assault the staff or an officer, so you know you can do whatever you want. And we come with blood in our eyes. So I'm running, and they're trying to force the guy on the ground. And the guy made all kinds of crazy like accusations against me. He said that I ran full speed and kicked him in the head while he was on the ground. He say I forced his head to the ground, stuffed sand and dirt in his mouth, nostril, eyes. The guy was he also claimed that, you know, once I was escorting him, that he wasn't resisting. I started shaking him and making it appear as if he was trying to snatch away, and slammed him on the concrete while in handcuffs. That's the type of stuff, you know, that goes on. And I'm far from the worst. In my mind, you know, I'm fair, firm but fair. That's far from worse. But once you reflect on these things, you realize you're dead wrong.
When you say like reflect on it, you mean that like when you got done working in the prison and you came home and you thought back on all the shit you did, that's when you reflected on like, damn, I kind of took it too far.
I would reflect on and see, I thought maybe like he had maybe hit the officer and they would fight, but it was something that the officer pretty much was like faulty in, and I didn't care about the narrative. I just came in to get some cheap shots in on the guy.
I get what you're saying.
Guy was seriously injured after that. I think the dislocated shoulder, his entire forehead, all the skin was off his forehead. He was pretty messed up.
How do you feel about that now?
I feel terrible about it, man. You know, that could be me, you know.
Yeah.
So I've had incidents where inmates kind of got the best of me, you know, so hey, you got to live with that. You know, everyone laughs at you, everyone talks about you. You know, it goes around the prison news for the day.
It's kind of like, you know, the Alabama prison system. The guards are their own gang, and there's a famous gangster out in California who debriefed in the Cali system, and he said, "I accepted my life knowing that I'm going to give pain, but eventually my day is going to come." And that's kind of like that karma coming for full circle. It sounds like that's kind of what happened with you.
Well, let me say this. Let me make this disclaimer. You know, Piper Kerman, she wrote Orange is the New Black. You got Gary Hayward, he wrote Corruption Officer. Those are like confessionals. You know, they were convicted and they wrote a tell-all. I've never been convicted of anything. So I write fiction, if you know what I mean, you know. So, but it was this one lady, I remember when I first started, man, it's like these people are going to seriously hurt me. Some of the stuff I did, it was just made no sense.
So I did a video with an ex-inmate in the Alabama prison system, and it was called, I think I titled it "White Boys Are Getting, you know, effed in the Alabama prison system." What did you see as far as like rape, booty bandits, gunners, stuff like that during your time working in the prison system?
I mean, man, it was this dude, he was the institutional runner, and his nickname was Heater Head.
Hold on, say that again.
it was this guy. He was the institutional runner, which he got privileges to go
Like
around.
an orderly that can move around.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. And a trustee, and his nickname was Heater Head. And he was a small guy, only like probably 5'3", 5'4". He was maybe weighed 105 pounds, but he was basically made into a female. His nickname was Heater Head because they say he had the finest head in the prison. So he just kind of converted. He wasn't homosexual, but he couldn't protect himself.
Hold on, he wasn't a homosexual?
He wasn't homosexual. He's a straight male.
He is now, though. If his name's Hitterhead, hey.
Yeah. I mean, and like for food and extra items, he just prostitute himself. But it's a way of survival. Like the guy get out, he's gonna be heterosexual. All he has is just to stay under the radar.
Yeah,
keep from getting beat up, stabbed, having to join the gang. With white guys, they're not necessarily weak. It's just if you're white, you're gonna be assumed to have money. People gonna try to extort you, and they're gonna come in groups. So you don't want to wake up and 6 guys. You don't want to wake up your first night in prison, no guards around, and someone has a knife to your neck, and there's 6 guys willing to holding you down, taking turn to rape you. So you probably want to join a group, something like the Area Brotherhood, but not everybody wants to do that because they may send you to kill someone, and they give you the order, you could get killed.
Right. Let me ask you this, man. What would you say is the percentage of people that are in prison and in Alabama where you worked that take place in homosexual stuff?
I would say probably about 35% of the population from what I see. There's a lot of guys who are against that. There's a lot of guys who don't deal with that. It's guys who are openly doing that.
Are they allowed to walk the yard though? Like, is there can you say, oh, that dude's a booty bandit, and then he's walking the chow and just doing his time?
Yeah. Because there's people. I've got into it with homosexual men, and the guys would be like, hey, leave him alone, leave him alone. That's a female. It was an older white guy. Yeah, it was an older white guy. He was he has to be like 66. He was real small, and they call him Granny because all of his hair was white, and he was just.
But was he a gay inmate or was he an actual booty bandit?
He was a gay inmate.
Oh, okay.
But they didn't bother him. They called him Granny like he was someone's grandma. Everyone called him Granny. He didn't get in any trouble.
Did you actually ever see any of that stuff going on?
Oh yeah, man. We even had it was a guy I went to the academy with, and he was getting haircuts from inmates twice a week. At the time, I didn't know anything about it, but then they investigated him. And after the investigation, it's hard to prove you're having sex with the inmate unless they got DNA. But allegedly what happened, he was dating an inmate openly, giving the inmate head, letting the inmate penetrate him, bringing the inmate cell phones and stuff. And he broke up with the inmate, I guess, and started with a new inmate. And the old inmate went
Springer type shit.
Yeah, so the ex went and told the warden on him. They started investigating. They couldn't catch him for that, but they did catch him he was up on the tower and he had 2 cell phones, and they wrote him up and transferred him to the women's prison. So they didn't have any more problems.
I guess not. What are the epidemics like in the Alabama prison system as far as Tucci, heroin, weed, shit like that?
Oh man, now that's the money right there. It is. I would hear stories of a guy get 2 kilos smuggled in, and in 20 minutes you can tell 20 minutes is sold out. It is sold out. We had an officer they called him a kilo a week. They say he brought a kilo in every week, and it would sell out.
Making some bread.
It would sell out in 20 minutes. You could tell when a package came in because all the inmates would be swarming this one dorm in and out trying to get in there. And it would go so fast. And they say they can't get enough drugs in. So it was I think an officer found 2 pounds of cocaine before. I would find, it's nothing to find, small amounts of meth. Well, it's not a small amount. I thought it was a small amount, but apparently,
What do the inmates act like that you saw when they're doing meth and coke and shit in prison? Like, can you go in the dorm and tell everybody's on it?
I mean, if you know, I mean, you'll smell marijuana, you'll see their eyes. I had a Aryan Brotherhood, and I have to respect them. They got my respect. He attacked me. He was high on meth. I was just doing a normal shakedown of a random inmate, and he was just yelling like, "Get the F out the dorm. Get your ass out of here before we hurt you." He just kept yelling threats, and I didn't understand, because it was like, man, like this has never happened before. I'm not bothering anybody, and then all of a sudden I yell, like I can't even see him. He's like rolls down, but he keep yelling threats, and then I was like, "Who is that? Shut the hell up!" Next thing you know, I hear the guy. He's walked down behind me. The guy actually walks up to me, and he shoves me. Now this is the Aryan Brotherhood. This is. I'm gonna let you know how serious it is. He shoves me. I go into shock, because I've never heard of anyone just putting their hands on an officer. He's crossed so many barriers. I know this guy. He's probably gonna kill me, but he was real messed up. So I'm like, okay, I'm finna die, or I'm finna kill him, because I'm not getting out of here. This never happened.
He's twacked out on meth, so you don't know what the fuck he's gonna do.
I didn't know it at the time, so I'm thinking like, this guy shouldn't try to kill me. So I didn't know I had these big iron keys in my hand. When he walks up and shoved me, I'm like, oh my God, he just pushed me. So I start punching him, but I don't know I got keys in my hand. It cut him real bad, and he grabs me. And he's a big, strong guy, and he's trying to throw me to the ground. Well, the Aryan Brotherhood, like 7 of their members, jump up. They run over, surround me, and they take my radio, my handcuffs, my spray, throw them out the windows. Thankfully, they didn't jump me or kill me. Had I been,
could have killed you right then, bro.
They would have killed me. Yeah. The only reason they didn't kill me is because they just did righteous judgment. They said, well, he started it. He's going to get the one-on-one with you. But for them to do that, it's like a regular policeman, if he pulls someone over and they just shove him and go to fighting, you know there's something. This person's out of their mind. So because he started, had I been bothering him, they probably would kill me that day. And
what do you think about what's going on in the world with police officers and the brutality and all the riots and everything? Like, what's your thought on that?
Well, I mean, we as individuals, you got to be men. I don't want to harm anyone. I don't want to harm a gang member. I don't want to harm you. I don't want to harm the president. I don't want to harm anybody. But you have to protect your family. I would never tell someone, leave people alone, respect people. They're just like you. They can turn homicidal. Well, they're a cop. That's just a person who filled out a job application. They're not stellar individuals. They're just like me and you. They could snap, respect them. But at the same time, I do support riots and burning down buildings and stuff, because they'll respect property loss, money loss. They will not respect you. The blue wall of silence is real. So I see it like this. I don't want to harm anyone, but no one's going to brainwash.
But you're saying by doing that, you're getting across the message, because if you don't and you chill and lay back and just be nice and do it, it's not going to get anywhere.
Well, I mean, if I come and murder your wife, my philosophy is you don't have to wait for
I'm going to come get you.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm going to torture you too.
Don't bother people. Don't bother people, but you have to, things will change when they understand you have power, you organize, you have force. The military they tell you to go put up signs. Well, the government tells you put up signs and peaceful protests. They don't go to Iraq and put up peaceful signs. They use force. So
they use IEDs. But since we're talking about power, man, that brings me to the one question that I think, everybody wants to know. So did you, during your time being a prison guard, hook up with an inmate?
Well, that's custodial misconduct, man. Like I say,
nah, bro, we keep it real here.
I'm gonna say you like this. I can neither confirm nor deny. I had any involvement with the inmate. And for the viewers, I worked at a women's prison before I worked at a men's prison. But I will tell you,
the question
if
this
I
though.
did, it was the sweetest, hottest thing I ever had. And it didn't last long because I knew I was wrong. That's all I got to say about that.
All right, so I got a couple comments from our first interview, and I think it would be good for me to read them and get your response. So this is
Let me say this real quick for them little haters on YouTube and stuff. You want to hear my story, you need to shut the hell up. A lot of them are rude and stuff. I don't know if you deleted some of them or they deleted themselves, but
listen, homie, check it out. You can do, it doesn't matter what you do. Right? Someone is always going to find a negative. People that find a negative in things that you do that are positive are living a negative life. And that's the only outlook they see on life is negative. So they pick apart everything. Don't let that shit get to you, bro. These are actually good though. So the first comment I have is from a lady by the name of Lisa Jacoby. She was, she worked in the federal prosecutor's office and she had this comment to say. This is a great interview with this guard. He was engaging and informative. Crazy how women's prisons are worse than men's. Who would have thought? Would you agree with that? Women's prisons are crazier than men's?
Yes, man. It's like the lion versus the tiger. The lion hunts when he's hungry. If he's not hungry, a gazelle or a zebra could walk right by the pack. They won't bother. A tiger will just kill you because you're there, man. It was crazy. Most of the fights,
straight predator.
Most of the fights are they hook up, they have a girlfriend after 2 weeks. It's over with. They both got
getting mudded out.
They both in new relationships, and it's like the exes and the new girlfriends, they all have to have this gang fighting, locks and socks. Oh my goodness. People eyes.
Eye sockets getting busted. All right. So the next comment is from a guy by the name of Matt McGuire. He says, man, this guy has some interesting stories. I never would have thought women's prisons would be like that, with them grabbing his junk and flashing you, laughing out loud.
Yeah, man.
That was when you were the girl trying to grab your shit.
Shoot, man, I'm gonna keep it real. So you keep it real. Man, I'm just a man. I will go home and have like illicit dreams about them. When they run out, and when you run into them and they release, it's like you're that old college professor or old high school teacher that they always had a crush on and wanted to hook up with. And I hooked up with like 7 or 8 of them, man, on the outside and stuff. One of my partners got jammed up about that, man. She was on parole, which is she's still in custody, and you can't deal with him. He got her pregnant.
Yeah, they got to be like straight out of custody completely, right?
Yeah. And he actually terminated, got convicted.
All right, so this brings me to the next comment by the name of Lost Soul. So if that tells you anything. Dude couldn't keep still. He kept looking at the floor.
Well, see, most people don't know, man. I'm shy. It's hard for me to make eye contact.
I already knew that's what it was because I did it too, and I do it. So, but anyways, tell Lost Soul why you do what you do.
Man, it ain't no thing, man. I just have a problem with eye contact, being social. I'm actually an introverted person, but I learned to be, assertive when I need to.
Yeah, I'm naturally like introvert too. I'd rather just, a small circle. All right. So the next comment, man, last one, Texas, Alabama boy, 817. Damn. I wonder if he knows my cousin, Ashley Jones. She's down at Tutwiler Women's Prison in Alabama. You keep that fire, Doc.
Man, everybody know Ashley Jones. She the most notorious inmate. Like, everybody who's worked at Tutwiler, you're gonna know that name, Ashley Jones. A lot of them, I don't remember their names. You're gonna remember Ashley Jones. Ashley Jones, I think, if I'm not correct, she was incarcerated since she was 14. She has life without. I think her and her boyfriend killed 4, attempted to kill 5 of her family members. One of them survived, and she kind of runs the place, and it's. She's a very beautiful inmate. She was,
which can be dangerous.
Back in the day, she was telling everybody like she's gonna have a baby, like she's gonna get one of these officers is gonna get her pregnant. So I was I was afraid of her. I just steered clear of her because she carried weight and she was trouble, man. But I'm sure she matured after time and stuff.
Yeah.
Crazy.
So as far as the first interview went, and I know you mentioned some shit about the comments, I just want to give you the opportunity to tell the people, you know, how was your experience with the first interview? What did you think the feedback was? And and also I want you to plug your book and stuff like that in.
Yeah, man, I appreciate all the comments and things, man. It's very exciting. For the most part, most people were, you know, very, it was just an entertaining experience. I love it, man. I love what you're doing. And you guys support me at corruptauthor.com. Check out my novels. Oh, one other thing I wanted to say to you, man, the state of Staten Prison, it was an officer. I don't know if he want me to say his name, but he was in the comment section, and I talked to him, and he said, he actually said Staten's gotten so worse. They closed down 2 prisons. It's overcrowded. He says there's homeless people in prison. Have you ever heard of that before?
That there's homeless people in prison?
Homeless people. All the violent offenders from Holman and Draper and gangs, they've been transferred to Staten. There's stabbings happening almost weekly. The officers are not even reporting them. They're taking people's bunk. And so, like he said, C and B dorm are the homeless dorms, where when they come in to count, it's like 12 people on the wall with just sleeping on the floor. And they say, I spoke to another former inmate. He say the predators just come in and pick one of the guys off the floor because they know they're weak and be like, hey, go get in the shower. And
to get busy?
To booty bandit them. You know, so
damn.
He say it's like it's terrible. If you're weak, it's not the time to go to prison.
I've seen some videos on Alabama's prison. There was I forget the name of it, man. Maybe was it Holmes? Is there a prison?
Holman. Yes, they shut it down.
Yeah. So they had a show on that with the warden, the black warden. He was a basketball coach and shit.
Oliver Culliver.
Oliver Culliver. Listen, that prison, there's a lot of cell phones that were in that prison and they were getting leaked to YouTube. And I actually have some on my channel, man. They don't even play in that prison. That prison is literally like a third world country, like a refugee camp is what it looks like.
Yeah, Donaldson, Holman, and St. Clair, they just like they have, it's people killing each other, stabbing each other. And so, and there's rival gangs. So they rotate them in those 3 prisons because there's enemy lists and your enemy try to kill you in your sleep. So they try to keep them separated as possible, but closing Holman down, now we have the Holman inmates at Staten. So
so basically they transferred all the fucking nuts to you at Staten.
Well, they scattered them. I think Holman had about 4,000 inmates. They shot them to several prisons, but yeah, that and Draper wasn't with. Draper had more gang activity, so you got a lot of gangs. That's the most gang active prison.
That's what I wanted to get into you with, was how the gang structure works in the Alabama prison system. I appreciate you coming on the channel again. Is there anyone you want to give a shout out to or plug any of your social media in?
Shout out to my baby.
Hey,
Jay Holiday. I wrote you the other day. I hope you get the letter. I hope you get to see this interview soon.
All right, man. That's what's up, bro. Well, I appreciate you coming on, man. I do appreciate your honesty and the fact that you're willing to, you know, put your face out there and step forward and expose some light on the corruption that's been going on for the past 50 years. So a big salute to you for doing that, man. And I wish you nothing but the best in the future. If you're new and you're tuning in for the first time, this is the kind of stuff we talk about on this channel. We keep it real, we keep it raw, and we keep it uncut, and we tell the truth, and we expose corruption. So hit that subscribe button and turn your post notifications on, so every time I do drop an episode, you can hear it first. And with that, it's DOC TV, and we're out.